Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Guy from Disclosure, and I'm currently in LA. This is my little apartment that I have with my girlfriend, and I just kind of am out here because I can't go anywhere else now. So Howard's in the UK. I'm out here.
Hello, I'm Howard. I'm one half of Disclosure. My brother is somewhere on the other side of the planet right now. Yeah, I think I'd rather be here, to be honest. Yeah, I'm out in the countryside and I'm with my best friend and my girlfriend, so quarantine's not so bad.
Well, I think something people might find interesting is that house music definitely wasn't the biggest influence, which is weird because that's where we've kind of landed. Our parents, they weren't into anything like that, not even really electronic music. Like, they liked pop made with machines. But in terms of dance music, like club music, nah, it wasn't their thing. Dad's a guitarist and a singer, mum's a keyboard player and a singer.
Both of our parents are musicians, and they had kind of varying tastes. Our dad's really into prog rock, so like Genesis and Led Zeppelin and that sort of stuff. And I guess that was the music that got us into kind of analyzing music and kind of, we'd hear a bass line and be like, what is that? Like, why is that so good? And then we'd all sit around and kind of talk about it, which I guess isn't something a lot of families do.
I mean, our dad was into some really intricate, crazy prog rock. I mean, that was really what got us interested in the technicalities and the construction of music, and learning to play instruments was because everything my dad was listening to was insane, like really advanced and it's like confusing.
I think for me personally, like the thing that got me most excited about music was Earth, Wind and Fire. First thing that really got me like, oh, what's this?
I think I couldn't pin it on one thing, but for me, probably as like a tiny kid, it was always Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. That was what I was pretty much listening to all the time.
I remember on my 6th birthday, my dad gave me a bass guitar.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think you should be a bass player. And I was just sort of like, yeah, all right. I stuck with it for a long time. And like, that was sort of the first time where I was like, you know what, I'd actually love to do this as a job, like teach bass playing or something like that. Seeing both of our parents try to be musicians, well, our dad especially, tried to be in a band and like it just didn't quite work out, like almost got signed. And he's really good, Yeah. So we were like, well, if he can't do it, we probably can't do it either. So me and Guy eventually started making some music for fun, and somehow it just worked out and we got further than he did. But we have no idea why.
With Disclosure, man, like Disclosure happened so quick. Like from us, the first 2 songs we ever made were the ones that went on MySpace and the ones that got us found by Pitchfork and our managers and everyone that we're still with management wise today. Like it all happened from those first 2 songs. So it felt professional from the first month. But we didn't start earning any money for a while, but it felt like the team was being built almost as we built the project. Disclosure, the music itself, every release we've done is basically us learning how the fuck to make dance music. Like we did not know what we were doing. Yeah. And I think that naivety helped a lot because, like I told you earlier, with our influences being what they are, not anything to do with house music or techno or garage, even anything, like it didn't matter. Like it was just like we can do whatever we want. We've got fresh ears, and it was the same with making the music and building the team. No one really knows what they're doing in anything. That's what I've come to realize. No one knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think about that one quite a lot. One of the things for sure for me would just be like to take school less seriously. Not in terms of like don't try hard and don't study or anything like that, but just like, don't know, getting in trouble at the time seemed so bad. It seemed like so important that you didn't get in trouble. And it caused me a lot of stress and anxiety at school, like the thought of being in trouble, because I was in trouble quite a lot. And like, just for stupid things like talking and whatever. And I wish I didn't have to go through that, because now in hindsight, none of it matters. It's like obviously learning matters, but your teacher not liking you doesn't matter.
Well, in terms of music and our career, I would say that it's not as much luck as you think. There is some luck for sure, but it is so much more about hard work and persistence and not giving up. Like it's so hard to get off of zero when you start music. Everyone's stuck at zero. Yeah. And as soon as you climb up to like that, you get one leg up, like you get a manager or you get a label sniffing around. Like it's just like it grows so quick, if you work hard at it. If you immediately start spending all your money or start partying or whatever, like it's not going to be easy. But if you can get off 0, which does require luck, like, I'd never deny that. It can be done. Labels are literally like, they have floors of people looking for new artists. You know, it's not like they don't want to find people. It's not like there's people coming through the door all the time like, oh yeah, you're good but you're not good enough. It's like, no, they're dying for new stuff. So, you know, it's out there. I think I wish I'd known that a bit as a kid, because I was always, you know, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I always knew it, like from the earliest I can remember. Drumming, being on stage, like that was what I wanted to do. And I was always under the impression that like probably ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, there was loads of them, to be honest. Like all of my favorite musicians, I was like, there was aspects of what they did that I was like, yeah, I really want to do that. But there's quite a lot of aspects of Sting that I really liked growing up. I saw him interviewed a few times, and he said a few things that I was like, that's wicked. Like he went like 10 years or something without doing an album, and everyone was interviewing him about like, you know, why haven't you done any music? And his answer was like, well, I just haven't had anything to say. And I've always had the philosophy of like, if you've got nothing to say, don't say anything.
I think it would be just like a collection of drummers and bands mostly. I wasn't aware of DJs as such when I was a kid, like a super young kid. Yeah. Throughout my teenage years, when I started going to clubs like 16, 17, then I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to learn to DJ as well. But yeah, as a kid, I would say drummers in bands. Yeah. Phil Collins probably quite big because he was a drummer and the front man. Yeah. So I was like, wow, he's just doing everything and producing it all and writing it all, and he's a lyricist. Like, what a sick guy. Yeah, Stevie, and any multi-instrumentalist, I would say, Stevie Wonder, you know, people, Michael Jackson, people who were like, you knew they wrote the whole song. They were playing all the instruments on all the tracks and singing like the whole shebang. And I was like, I know I'm not a singer, like, I'm not good enough for that, but if I could get to any level like that, where I can have like multiple pies going on at the same time, because that for me is what gives me the most like joy and the most like meaning, is when like I've got loads of things going like on the go at the same time. Like if I'm producing someone's project there, and then there's a disclosure session here, and then we're also DJing here, and then I get to play the drums here. It's like that is such a good feeling. I mean, that is playing the drums, you know. You've got so many things happening at once, and that's why I've always liked it. It's the syncopation of all those things. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. I don't know. I didn't really like secondary school very much. That was the only school that we were ever at the same time. You know, 3 years apart when you're that young is quite a big gap. Yeah, we never like thought we'd join a band together or anything. But probably if anyone had said we should do that, it would have been super lame.
I was doing my GCSEs and I had to leave an exam early in order to go and get on a plane to go and play a show in Berlin. So I lost a GCSE for that reason.
Yeah, even though we were just in Reigate, you know, it wasn't like a fancy music school or anything. It was totally enough to get the ball rolling. Yeah, I'll be forever grateful for that. Me, obviously, of course. Yeah, as a second child, you know, it's always a favourite. So. Definitely me, 100%. There's no getting around it. Like, I'm firstborn. You really should ask my mum that. Then we'd really get to the bottom of this.
I think one of the things is there's that underlying family bond that even if you do have a little argument or a falling out, you know it's kind of always just going to work out again. Whereas if it was, I don't know, someone that was just more of a friend that you'd met, there's always the possibility that you could just fall out forever. And also just knowing Guy so well, like we don't have to think about like, oh, I don't want to tread on his toes too much or something like that. We know how each other work. And over the years, we've kind of formed a relationship where we know what roles we play. So like Guy loves DJing and like the performing and also the mixing and production side of the music, whereas I love the songwriting and that side of it. And so like, yeah, we've just settled into our roles well, and so we don't really have much conflict anymore.
Yeah, well, I remember we all thought it was shit, Brexit and all that. Now it seems like a walk in the park.
I honestly don't know like when the year ended. I can't remember what happened in what year. It might be like if we did finish the album in that year, it was that. But yeah, we definitely finished writing it in that year, and that's my bit done. So that for me, it was that.
We did shows. We did Warehouse, which was awesome. Warehouse was one of the best shows. Actually, that was a fucking amazing night. Seriously, I'm not joking. Like, I mean, it was such a throwback to doing the old shows, and then also like the new venue was like, wow, this is mega, like a huge almost festival vibe. Yeah, that was right up there. We knew like we had the EP that's just come out like last month ready, and we were playing some of that out as well. So it just felt like the old days. It just felt like, cool, we've got like good music like up our sleeve. People are liking what we put out, even though it's super weird and experimental. And like, the people who just want Latch over and over and over again ain't going to be happy, but like, who cares? We're doing what we want to do. Yeah, we did a really fun like US run, lots of festivals, but like on our own terms. That's why it was so nice. We just pick and choose the ones that we wanted to do. We didn't have to work as brutally hard as we used to. It was a really nice year for touring, just being able to do it not tired.
Yeah, have a look. I need to look at my phone to answer a question like that. A lot of old James Brown, a lot of Gangstar, Lion King soundtrack. Yeah, that's been... Oh, Steelers Wheel. I've been listening to loads of Steelers Wheel. We've got a song, it's like an interlude on our first record. It's called Second Chance. And I think that might be it. It's tough though. Like it changes like every week. The answer to that question, like even our latest record that's not out yet, like I keep wondering, which song of that I think is the best one, and I really don't know. It changes every day.
Every single one is my favorite up until it's finished, and then it's done. Like I probably listen to the songs once they're finished once. Like the master, when it gets mastered, you listen to it, check it, cool, done. I could probably say like I'm most proud of Latch and really proud of Talk as well. Like all the things that Talk has done with Khalid. Yeah. I mean, that partnership we've got with Khalid has been amazing, considering this has been our time off. Yeah, we've had like the biggest song of our career in that time, even though it was, for someone else. It's another Grammy nomination and all that. So I'm super proud of the songs that, connect with the most people. But in terms of like my favorite track, it's always like, it's the next one. It's always the next one that you're chasing, because we don't make the music for it to get big. It's like always a beautiful bonus every time it does. We make the music because there's just something in you got to get out. It's like it's always there. It's just like, can't go to bed until I've like put this on paper. Yeah. It's that feeling. So it's not really even like a favorite, oh, that was a fun day. It was like, no, that had to be done or I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
I would probably pick Eats Everything. I have gone back to back with him many times, but it's just so much fun that I would love to do it again any moment now. Dan is just like, he became a really close friend of ours and kind of showed us the ropes in a few ways of DJing because he's been doing it for so long. He was the first DJ we ever saw who just played only his own songs, and we were like, that's sick. Yeah, nice. No one does that. He's just made so many that he can make a whole like 4-hour set out of only his own tunes. We were like, that's amazing.
Well, I've done a few that I've already would be on that list that have actually happened, which is crazy. I would say we went back to back at 5 a.m. Until I think midday. Yeah. So it's the proper like sunrise vibe, and it was me, Teed, Jackmaster, and Joy Orbison, which was fucking epic. And I don't really even think it's been spoken about much since. There's like a few videos online as proof, but mate, for me that was fucking sick. Like, Jack's my favorite DJ. Joy's like one of the most inspirational like dance music producers for us, and Teed as well in terms of like the songwriting, and that whole first album he did was just mind blowing. So musically that was so fun and just such a party. Ricardo Villalobos, I feel like that would be really fun. Like if you could survive. I've been back to back with Scream a few times, and that's tough enough, but Ricardo's a different level.
I'd love to do a whole album with Take Six. Yeah, Take Six, they're like an a cappella group. They're still about. They're amazing. I think Jacob Collier has done a bunch of stuff with them recently on his album. So it's not like out of the realm of possibility. But I'm like completely blown away by their stuff. I love it. If it was Dead Person, though, it'd be Prince.
Stevie Wonder. Yeah. Stevie, Prince, Michael. But probably not Michael since everything, but yeah. Musically Michael, but not personally. Just being in the room would be a bit sketchy probably.
It's probably Sam Smith, you know, it probably is. Like, there's been some really fun ones, but the thing is with Sam is developed this relationship. It's similar to the thing I was saying about me and Guy. You know, like we just know how it works. Everything just flows. Like you don't have to think about it too much. And I think there's something beautiful in that you can't get writing with someone that you've just met.
I'd have to say Sam Smith, because we've just maintained an amazing friendship since as well, you know. And Sam's with our managers, so he's, you know, Sam's like a core part of the team.
Yeah.
You know, we send each other music, and yeah, you know, I've been helping produce Sam's next album. You know, Sam listens to our stuff as well. So yeah, it's like that's a strong partnership, but it's different to the other collaborations, because some collaborations we'll do, and you know, the person will only meet on the day.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll just hang out at shows. Yeah, so I'd say like the ones that lead to a really good friendship are my favorite, because it's more than just the music. You know, you meet through the music, and then you go on to have this like, you go on to have pints down the pub, and it's like, it's really fun. Khalid is also just like mind-blowingly good. Like I can't explain to you how crazy good that guy is. Like the work rate is insane. Like the studio mindset he has it blows me away. I mean, I've never seen someone write so fast as him.
Yeah.
Like when he walks in the room, you better have the microphone recording, because he'll sing the hook immediately. Like it just comes out of him. Like with Talk, we played him just the beat, and he pretty much ad-libbed the da-ba-da-da straight away. And then the words came maybe 3 takes later, and then boom, that was it. That's how he works. It's like he just channels it from somewhere. He's in the zone, and it's such a great thing to watch that happen.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. So yeah, he deserves everything, seriously. It depends on the venue, on the vibe. Like I remember doing some live shows early days where it was like, why are we bothering?
Yeah.
Like, why we should have just turned up with records. Like, this is pointless. This is early days, and we were like, driving up ourselves in my VW Polo with a table and a few like shakers.
It's something that changes a lot. But yeah, at the moment, definitely prefer DJing, mainly just because like the music that we're into and the music that we're making is very much like club music. Whereas like for the second album, we were really going for the whole songwriting pop stuff, which made more sense in a live format. But for this next record, I think we're definitely doing more DJing. Yeah, if we ever get out of this quarantine.
Like around Caracal, like that album took us from clubs and, you know, smaller festival slots to arenas. You know, it took us to Madison Square Garden. And I honestly don't believe you can get there without doing some form of live show. Like, it's very rare. Like, Swedish House Mafia can do it, you know. Yeah. But even Calvin couldn't do it. You know, he did the whole live show and the band thing before he went into DJ world. And, you know, it was always about the live show. I mean, we just assumed that's how it was done. Like I said, we didn't know dance music. We didn't know DJing. I've probably got like 2 or 3 answers for this, but for different reasons. So favorite in terms of like life-changingly proud, like basically tick off everything. Yeah. Because that would have to be the headlining the other stage Friday night Glastonbury. That was like a life-changing moment, because that was the festival we always used to watch on TV as kids. Just because it's, you know, it's in the UK, it's the one, it's like it's the best festival in the world. So yeah, that was mega.
We did 3 nights at Alexandra Palace a few years ago, and that was amazing for me, because that was like the first big venue that we'd done as our own show in London. And I remember I drove there from my house. I was living in Acton in this like funny little council house in Acton, and I remember driving there. It took me ages to get there because there was traffic, and I drove there and got to like you drive up to the backstage bit, and the security guard was like, he like came and like asked me who I was and all that, and the normal sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, sorry, I'm late. Like, I'm on stage in like 20 minutes or something. I was stuck in all this traffic. And he was like, yeah, well, you caused it. Like, this traffic is for your gig. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that. Like, this is our traffic. So that was a pretty like mind-blowing moment. And that show, all 3 of those shows were like some of the best we've ever done. So yeah, it'd be that. I think I drove to the first 2, and then the last one was a blowout.
So
yeah.
Most surreal, but probably like we'll never forget moment would be Madison Square Garden. I mean, that was just mental. I mean, the fact that we could sell that out in a country that we aren't even from, you know, where the country where dance music originated, you know, and we're kind of like selling it back to them. It just seemed so crazy. That show was, we flew out our parents and families to that one. And yeah, I remember in soundcheck for Madison Square Garden, we got our dad up on stage and my godfather, and they were jamming on stage at Madison Square Garden to no one. Like, no one was actually there yet, but we were all playing, and that was crazy. Yeah, completely crazy. The best ones you can't remember, so it's like a flawed question. You know, if you can remember it, probably wasn't that good.
Most memorable after. I don't know. Guy goes to all the after parties. I don't really go to them. I mean, like, all the after parties that Scream has been at are always hilarious. Oliver Jones is just a hilarious human being. I miss him. I don't know where he is. He's probably out there somewhere.
I think I would have to say the first year that we were up for a Grammy, which we lost, but who cares? Sam Smith was also up for about 5. That was all crazy because we just went to the Grammys for a start, which was just, what the fuck? That's mental. So we rented this house up in Beverly Hills. Sam ended up winning all of those. And so we were like, yeah, we're going to have a big party. So we had this house, and we had this sick idea where we basically had wristbands made, and each of us, about 10 of us, all took like 50 wristbands in our suits to the Grammys. And so when we were like on the floor of the Grammys during the award ceremony, we were just going around to like the A-list celebs, giving them the wristbands which had the address on, and like Sam Smith Disclosure After Party, just thinking like, maybe that's the way it's done. Like, we'd never done this before. Like literally giving them to everyone, like from Taylor Swift to Katy Perry to Kanye, like just like on the off chance they'll show up. And mate, everyone came. Like Kanye didn't come, Beyonce and Jay-Z didn't come. Other than that, I think everyone came. It was mad. Like, even Mark Ronson, who was having his own party, came after his party.
Wow.
I remember introducing The Weeknd to Pete Tong. Like, what the hell is that about? I remember dancing with. I remember dancing with. Well, I DJ'd for 10 hours. That was the main thing. It was fucking fun. But I remember going back to back with Todd Edwards for a bit. And then dancing with Todd Edwards and Katy Perry. Everyone I love from dance music, and huge artists of like mega proportions, all meeting in this one house that we'd rented, and it was unbeatable, you know.
Well, yeah, okay, so yeah, there was one situation that was just weird because of how many famous people were involved in it, where I was sat, it was some award thing, I can't remember what it was. It might have been like the GQ Awards or something, an award that I didn't know about, basically. And I went there because Sam Smith had asked us to present his award, their award.
On our table was, so it was me, Howard, Sam, manager, Elton John, and Jose Mourinho and his 2 daughters.
And so we were sat having this very strange conversation with them. And then I got like someone leant on my shoulder to talk to Elton John, like over me. I didn't know who it was. And I just heard this voice, and it was like someone just cussing out Elton John, just like having a go at him. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I was kind of a bit like, oh God, I was like 17. I didn't know what the hell was going on. And it turns out it was like Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. So I had them over one shoulder shouting at Elton John over my other shoulder. The whole thing was just pretty mad. Yeah, the things that were said were highly controversial, and I can't repeat them.
That was great in itself, because I hadn't met Elton at that point. He'd called me once. He'd called me and Howard to congratulate us on our #1 album for the first album, which is mad. You know, it's literally like, Guy, it's Elton. What?
I feel bad about calling this the best because it's weird and I didn't enjoy it, but it's hilarious. We were sat in a dressing room. I think it was actually just me in the dressing room. Maybe Guy was there, and this girl just burst in, and we were like, I don't know how she got in, because this particular venue had like 3 different layers of security before the dressing room. Yeah, so this girl burst into our dressing room, and she was wearing a full cardboard cutout of me. an HD cardboard cutout of my face and shoulders and like down to about here, and didn't say anything. She just burst in and just stood there wearing it, and I was on my own. And I was just looking at her, and she was just looking at me, and not anything. I just said, "Wow," and then like I think Guy probably came in, and we were all just laughing, and I like tried to diffuse the situation and like make a bit of a joke out of it, and was like, "Can I wear the mask? Like, can I try it on?" And she was like, "No." This is my mask. And I was there thinking like, it's my face, forgive me. And then eventually like Toby, our security guard, came in, and I was like, well, our tour manager / security guard came in, and I was like, bro, like she needs to go, like get her out. And he was just laughing. He didn't even do anything about it. Eventually he did, but like he took his time on it, and that's why I refer to him as a security guard first and a tour manager second.
Yeah, it's nothing special. It's mostly alcohol. It's a lot of alcohol, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on our rider. Like none of it really matches up to what is supposed to be on Diplo's rider that I know about.
Okay.
But like our one is pretty normal. You know, there's like food and like drinks and stuff. I always ask for like one of those bottles of tequila that's like that big.
Yeah.
And I like to drink it on stage, like from the bottle. But the only like really weird thing that we have is a hobby horse. We always ask for a hobby horse, which is like a horse's head on a stick, not live, not dead, just a toy one. Vegan. Yeah, so we ask for those, and like it's amazing how many places get them. Like we put it on there as a joke, and they turn up at like every show pretty much, and they're always subtly different. They normally make a noise if you squeeze their ear. They make like a galloping noise. And one time someone put like an actual, I don't know what the animal was, maybe like a warthog's head on a stick, like a warthog head. We didn't like that, so just stick to hobby horses.
Yeah, shot of tequila. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pump music in the dressing room. We usually have like CDJs set up in the dressing room too, a couple speakers, to get the vibe going.
Nice. Practice
a little bit, warm up. I might do like a bit of stretching, but mostly just get hyped. Yeah, I like to be busy before the show. I don't like to sit around.
I juggle a lot. I tend to just juggle. There's always like apples in the dressing room, and I tend to juggle with them. Guy like does normal sort of warm up stuff, like kind of jogs on the spot a bit, and like I think he like has a DJ set up in the dressing room, so he's like DJing as a warm up for DJing.
Nice.
And I'm just stood next to him juggling normally. Oh, we eat a lot of hummus as well. That's about the only other thing. The name is a pretty boring story, man. It's like we made these two songs, which was our first single, which was like this double A side single called Streetlight Chronicle, and we didn't have a manager or anything. I was still at school, Guy was at college, and we were living at home.
We wanted to put them on MySpace, and we didn't even think of a name because we were just like, we'll put them on MySpace, and that'll just be a place where we can send them to our friends.
And we didn't even think about the fact that we were going to need a name. So we were making this MySpace page because MySpace was the thing at the time. And it just like said, like, what's your band name? We were like, oh yeah, like we're a band now. And so like we were like, no, let's make a cool name. But we didn't put any thought into it because we wanted to make the account right then.
Who knows what this is? I'm already in another band. That's my focus. This is just like a little bit of fun with my brother. Simultaneously, while I was doing that, on the other window on the computer, I was doing my car insurance with Direct Line, and it said terms of disclosure on one of the pieces of paper, and I was like, yeah, that's cool.
So there's no story behind it, but we've been talking about like trying to craft some sort of really intricate backstory to just lie, but we've said this one now.
Yeah, let it flow, man. Always let it flow. But sometimes it's different for me and Howard because, Howard does the chords and the lyrics and the melody. So I think with lyrics, Howard might have some idea of where he wants to go before he starts because, he usually writes in third person about something else, but I think he'll have a concept on his mind or something before he starts putting it to paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to change it up as much as possible, actually. So like maybe like there's probably a few trends that happen a bit more than the rest. Like we start with drums quite often, and we start with chords quite often. But it's very rare that we'll start with like a concept or something. That normally comes later. But it has happened. We make a conscious effort to switch it up.
But then again, like when we work with singers, we'll often ask them what's on their mind. What have they been through recently? Any breakups? What's happening in your personal life or something like that. If they want to open up, then that always makes for the best writing. We found anyway, and that's why we never send songs to people, remotely. Yeah. We've always got to be there because that's when you get that connection. But for me, like as more of the beat maker, producer, sometimes I'll have an entire thing in my head and it'll just be a case of tweaking it until I've got it how it sounded in my head already out on the laptop.
Yeah.
That might not be the whole song structured. It might just be like the drop, or it might be just the drums. Usually it's the drums. Like I'll be kind of beatboxing a beat in my head a bit and around the kitchen or like in the car, and I'll just like put that down and maybe I'll just leave it as a drum beat for another day and Howard will, do some chords over it eventually.
Yeah.
From scratch, it's the drums. Drums is like how we start 9 tunes out of 10, I would say, probably. I'll be making a beat. Howard and whoever it is will be sitting in the room just kind of vibing. I'll keep turning around and say, like, do you like that snare? Do you like this hi-hat? Like, which bits do you like and which don't you like? I'll chop the bits you don't like. And then Howard will get on the keys and start with chords. And we'll just leave it looping on like really loud volume and just start singing. We usually have a mic just going in and just keep something looping for ages until like a hook comes out or even a lyric or something. And yeah, that's it, man. I'd say drums begin for us. Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, I don't think we've ever made a song with the live show in mind. I think it would warp the song in a direction that you don't necessarily need to take it.
Yeah.
It's always been make the songs as good as they can be and then figure it out later, which is like tough. But it's the only way you can do it. I think if you have any kind of preconceived notion of a direction you need to take a song, it doesn't usually help. You've got to let it just come out.
Yeah.
You've got to just, like, I don't think I would start a song at like 190 BPM and just think, well, that's how it's supposed to be. But, you can keep it in a range of tempo or even, you can keep it in a certain key if you'd like. If a singer says, oh, my voice is really good in like E major, you're like, all right, we'll just start in E major. Yeah. That's fine. But like, if you're already halfway down the road to then veer off and think, oh, well, we don't play the harp, so why would we put a harp in it? It's like, no, you'll just figure it out later. Like you'll do it on another instrument, or maybe that'll be in the backing track, and you'll arrange it so you can do it that way. But yeah, there's definitely been times in the live show where we have been figuring the song out, and we've been like, oh god, why did we do that? Like, why did we make it that way?
Yeah.
It's so hard to do live, but you just have to deal with it. There's no other way around it.
For the second album, we did kind of vaguely have it in the back of our minds that we were going to have to play it live because we'd been struggling so hard to play the first album live.
Yeah.
So yeah, the second album had a bit of that in mind, like in terms of drumming and like how many parts there were and things like that. But we tried not to let it limit what we were doing because for me anyway, like the most important thing is that the song's good. I think the best way of dealing with creative blocks for me as a songwriter is like to just keep going, like just turn up to the studio. That's the only thing you can do is just turn up.
Yeah, we never stopped making music. Like even on the break, it's not a break from making music, it's a break from touring, and a break from releasing. We were still making. I think I only took like 3 months off of properly making beats and went traveling and had a holiday. But other than that, we were making lots of music. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think stopping is really the answer.
I'm a big believer that ideas, especially in songwriting, they're like gifts that come to you from somewhere else. And sometimes you're lucky with that and sometimes you're not. And I think all you can do is just be there as a vessel and hope that one comes through you.
I haven't struggled too much with creative blocks. Like there's been times where we've made loads of songs that haven't been good enough to go out.
Yeah.
But it's not through lack of like creating. It's just lack of quality. You've got unlimited resources with a laptop now. You know, it's not like you've got a maximum amount of songs you're allowed to make per year.
Yeah.
You know, it's just keep writing, man, and you know, get frustrated, get pissed off, you know, make something you don't like, but get it out, get it done.
That's definitely a question for Guy that I shouldn't be answering. But generally, like the way that we tend to work is I like work on things at home, and so does Guy. So we work separately on like I'll have like chord ideas and concept ideas and melodies, and Guy's constantly making drum loops and stuff like that. And then when we come together, we kind of like weigh them up and like mix and match and see if anything fits. But otherwise, the way that we work, if there's like a featured vocalist or something, is we all just turn up in the room and we write around a keyboard while Guy makes drums. And the setup for that is super simple. We normally do it at Guy's house, and it's like just a couple of analog keyboards, like a little bit of analog gear, but mainly it's just like some really good monitors, a nice little keyboard, and a screen. I mean, I just use all the Logic plugins. I don't have any of the fancy ones. But there was a good one that I liked. I think it's just called One Knob. And I liked it for that reason. It's just one thing.
If you want to go into plugins, man, that's a hell of a conversation. That's a whole nother Q&A there. Yeah, but yeah, Universal Audio is our go-to. I've learned so much from using Universal Audio stuff because they're all emulations of real things, you know, real units, real compressors, EQs, delays, whatever. And, you know, not having an analog studio at our disposal, I can confidently now go into any studio, and I wouldn't say I'll be able to patch in all the gear and set it up, but like in terms of using it hands-on, I can do it. It's great. Like the last 2 years now, every time we've had an engineer for a vocal session, whatever, I'll be like, I want the tube tech and I want that Neve and I want it going into this, and then I'll do it all. And I've learned that purely off of the laptop. Like, and they react so similarly. It's crazy how good the emulations are now, and the fact that you can have, you know, a 200, 300 grand studio on your laptop for a few £100 or a couple thousand, whatever, and use it on a plane. You know, it's unreal. You know, I've done that before. Like, take your interface, plug it into the power table. You've got an analog studio on a plane. Like, you've got a Neve desk on a plane. It's crazy. So yeah, it's great, man. It's a great world we live in for technology right now.
Oh, that's a good question. For me, it'd be Steely Dan, I think, if they were both still alive. But yeah, I'm just such a big Steely Dan fan, always have been. A lot of my musical knowledge I've gained from teaching myself their songs. And so to see them writing one would be like, yeah, it'd be amazing for me.
Oh, it definitely would have been Abbey Road by the Beatles, surely. I think when George Martin and the Beatles were making Sgt. Pepper in Abbey Road, or even just making Abbey Road, any of the early Beatles recordings, when they were inventing things like stereo, you know, and inventing delay and inventing techniques of stretching tape and all that stuff, surely then maybe Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys too. I've been in that studio, and that room is so tiny compared to what you expect, and the fact they had so many musicians in there, like an orchestra and a band, and Brian conducting, that would have been a beautiful thing to see. Like, Pet Sounds is definitely my top 5, if not top 3 favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
So probably those. Yeah. So many I can't remember because of the rider that you guys kindly provided us with.
You know what? Weirdly, like, mine's not even when we were playing there. Is when I went there to see S.G. Lewis, and he like invited me to come. I was on S.G.'s guest list, and I turned up like an hour late and missed like most of his set. But I turned up for he was playing Senorita by Justin Timberlake, and I just lost my shit. I went in. That's when it was still under the arches, though.
I've got a really good picture of us, Sam Smith and Todd Edwards, randomly Todd Edwards, on stage at Warehouse, with Sam with his crazy haircut that he used to have at the start, and Todd. And Scream's there as well. That was really fun. That was a good night. I think The new venue is amazing. Stepping out in that new venue with that massive crowd, that was a hell of a moment, man. Like, yeah, to go from Store Street to that's a bit of a journey. Yeah, it's nice to have done both. We did a lot of Annie Mac Presents with Warehouse. I remember Annie. I mean, Annie's been brilliant for us. She's been such a fundamental key supporter in getting us to where we are. So shouts to Annie. Having us at AMP at Warehouse in the early days, especially, was super important. I mean, Warehouse, without doubt, is like, it's the best party in the UK. It is. It's so fucking fun. Every time we've played there, it's just, there's nothing like a big fucking sweaty rave in a warehouse. It's just, you've just done it right. You know? That's basically all you need to know. If you want a proper rave experience, you go to Warehouse Projects and you get sweat dripping all over your head. That's the vibe.
It's weird. Like, I think there's little like microclimates of crowds in even within the UK. You know, like, I think the further north you go, the crazier crowds get in the UK. And by the time you get to Glasgow, it's just crazy. Whereas like in America, it's kind of the further south you go, the crazier it gets. Yeah. But they are different. Like in America, there's a lot more filming, phones up, a lot more than in like Eastern Europe or something, where there's barely any of that. It's a lot like people are much more like there to get down. But I don't know. Yeah, and also like another big thing to consider is how different festival shows are to like shows in a venue. It's just so vastly different. And like we mainly play, like when we go to Australia, for example, we pretty much only play festivals the last few times we've been. So I don't really remember what it's like playing headline shows out there.
So basically, when we made our first two songs for MySpace, they got picked up by Pitchfork, and a couple of labels were interested, and Moshi Moshi was the label who wanted to release it. They wanted to do a limited 7-inch vinyl run. And so we needed some artwork, and we had fuck all money. So we managed to get some help from one of our manager's art college friends. So she was at art college just doing a degree, and she'd drawn the face and was like, oh, you can use this if you want. Blue background, the face was white. I'm like, yeah, cool. So that was that. It was just the first single artwork.
And then the next single came, and we didn't have enough money to buy any more artwork, so we just used the same one again with a different color. And then the next one came, we did it again, which was pretty bad. And but then a guy had this really good idea, because we started working with like vocalists and singers for our tunes, and so he was like, we should put the faces on them and like hide who they are when we announce it, and then we'll take the face off them once we announce who it is.
And that was we had such a great reaction to that from the fans. You know, fans were asking, can they do it to themselves? That was the real turning point where we realized, this is like a brand now. It's not just artwork. It's something that people actually really want for themselves. So,
and then eventually, people started recognizing us based on that face without it even having the writing saying Disclosure. So we were like, oh shit, we've got a logo now. Like, we didn't even mean to do that.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful bonus that's happened, because I think everyone is always looking for that solid logo, brand, image. And as DJs, I think it's hard to think of one that hasn't already been done, something original. And, you know, if we tried to plan that, I don't think it would have ever happened. So it's a nice, organic, you know, spontaneous thing that really came from the fans. The fans are what brought it together and stopped it from just being artwork and brought it into the, you know, the whole existence of Disclosure.
It'd probably just be like our first ever live gig, I'd say, where we played at Old Blue last in Shoreditch, and it was just like, we had done like maybe 2 or 3 DJ sets before that, but we weren't really DJing because we didn't know how. We were just kind of like pressing go on Ableton at that point. And we did like a live setup for the first time, which we were way more comfortable with because we grew up playing instruments. So we were like, this is going to be good. Like, we'll actually be able to make a good show. And it was in the top of a pub, you know, it's Old Blue Last. So we got there and it was just packed. Like, the whole place was sold out. And it was amazing. It was like our first live show and it was sold out. It was just so exciting. It was like, all right, this is actually like working.
Not much, to be honest. My hobby is my job.
Well, yeah, I live in the countryside like most of the time when I'm not in London working. So I do like countryside stuff, man. I got chickens, and I plant a lot of trees. I grow all my own food. And yeah, I just like to kind of immerse myself in nature a lot. I do a lot of walking and like reading. I take it super easy because like life when we're working is so intense, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like airports and hotels and like big cities and stuff. So I like to do the polar opposite.
My girlfriend and my friends have to kind of tear me away from the laptop. So yeah, seeing friends, man, seeing friends and family.
Nice.
That's it. If I'm not making music, I prioritize them. You know, spending time with my girlfriend, spending time with my friends, whether that's down the pub or going for a walk or, you know, just catching up and talking about life. And but even with them, you know, it's listening to music. So, you know, often my friends will come around and I've got a DJ booth in the kitchen. You know, we'll all have a mix, and we love doing that, and you know, having some drinks.
Nice.
That's how the kitchen mix came around. You know, the thing that we always do is it's literally what we do anyway every weekend. So, yeah, I like going for a run. I love going for a walk and a run. Trying to go to the gym more, stay healthy. I love cooking. I'm not very good, but like I still like doing it.
Yeah.
Especially over the last few years, I found that like cooking for other people gives me a like kind of similar feeling to like performing. You know, like I said earlier, you got so many things on the go at once. Like if you cook like a roast or something like that, or you know, or a curry, or like 3 curries. You know, you got 3 different things all on different times. Rice.
Yeah.
Like you got to bring it all together. It's really like it's addictive. I can see why people like doing it.
Sunday, I probably watch Harry Potter. Big Harry Potter fan, and like it's one of those ones where I've seen them all like 1,000 times, and like I know every word. And if I stick it on, I just zone out, and I disappear. I'm a Harry Potter freak, man. I don't really tell people that too much, but I've like read all the books like a lot of times.
All right, this
it's like my comfort zone story.
Watching serial killer documentaries. Actually, probably not. Sunday, probably comedy. I'm probably like watching a stand-up or something. I do love watching stand-ups. Yeah, I used to love Louis C.K. and Jimmy Carr and anything like super offensive, like really hard-hitting and dark and don't give a fuck about the consequences. Yeah, like Dave Chappelle, Ricky Gervais. Yeah.
I remember like when I was really young, I got a remote control car called Crazy Dancer, and it could do like 360s, but it could also do like roly-polies. That was sick.
My dad's bought me some nice guitars for birthdays and Christmases. Yeah, that's been really nice. He bought me a lovely Fender Telecaster. He got me a baby sitar once, which is cool. That was for Christmas. Yeah, a little sitar.
Pasta with a lot of cheese, like an outrageous amount.
Curry, probably Indian.
Yeah.
I still love British food though.
Eats everything at Motion in Bristol.
2009, Digital in Brighton. I watched Jackmaster back to back with Ben UFO, back to back with One Man, back to back with Joy Orbison.
Steely Dan.
Stevie Wonder.
I like Timothy Chalamet. He's great.
Jackson Pollock, why not? And also he sounded like a crazy dude.
Pesto pasta.
Shout out to Dags and the crew. She used to make such good food, man. I mean, I think the thing she used to do, we always used to look forward to, was a Sunday roast. She could do unbelievable roast potatoes and a proper roast. And she used to do a wicked green Thai curry.
UK.
Say UK from a place of loyalty. But I love America. Yeah, like, seriously, I don't want to be all diplomatic, but like, it is fucking great.
Funk and soul.
Has to be funk and soul, because hip hop is, you know, sampling a load of funk and soul. We can't have hip hop without funk and soul.
Classical.
Same with that. Classical.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have dubstep without classical. You wouldn't have music without classical.
Facebook. Yeah, I guess. I wasn't really on either of them.
MySpace. Yeah, it got us started. But then again, Facebook really ramped us up. Like, I'd say Facebook is hugely responsible for why we're doing good. So for my career, probably both are equally important.
Mine?
Air Max 90s.
I like Scrubs. Big Scrubs fan.
Yeah, right now I'm watching that fucking Crazy Tiger Man. What in the fuck is that about, bro?
Glasto.
Peach.
Pear. Love a pear. Had one today. Logic.
Logic, but using both at the moment, but Logic, yeah.
Dog. But I love cats as well, so yeah. They're both great.
I'd say dog, probably. I've never had one, but I just love dogs.
Knife. Yeah, I watch a lot of Ray Mears, man. I reckon I could get by. I'll give it a good go.
A boat, like a fully equipped boat with a captain. Yeah.
Probably be some sort of woodsman.
Man, I don't know, you know. Still music, it would have to be. I don't think I'd be able to exist without doing something musical. So maybe still drum teaching.
Yeah.
Because I did do that for a bit. Yeah, I worked in a clothes shop in Reigate, which I did not enjoy and was not good at. So hopefully not still working the floor in a clothes shop.
Happy.
That.
Yeah, it's a happy colour.
Happy, uplifting. Yellow is seen as positive. A shitload of veg.
Pesto. A lot of pesto. An outrageous amount of oat milk. Hummus. Just a lot of fruit and vegetables. That's pretty much it. Oh, a lot. Like a School of Rock soundtrack is a big one. It's one that I keep revisiting. I had a Daniel Bedingfield moment the other day. Yeah, S Club 7 came out recently too.
Well, we have a Spotify playlist that I update every day at the moment, and I don't hold back on guilty pleasures. I mean, it's got every type of genre on there. Yeah, you can check it out on our Spotify page, Disclosure's Record Bag. Yeah, I'm updating it every day at the moment because why the fuck not? So yeah, I'm putting everything on there. I think today I'm going to add Pure Shures by All Saints.
Nice.
Trying to think what secrets I have. Try and do a funny secret about Guy. Guy's a really high-level tap dancer. He's embarrassed about it. Another thing that Guy's embarrassed about is he's got really curly hair, but he doesn't ever grow it long enough for that to be a thing. And I'm always like, free the curl, free it. Like have the afro with the curls. It would be amazing. But he's just, yes, he's really resisted it for years. I'd say it's the main thing that comes between us.
When I was young, I had a really bad eating disorder, where from like birth until about 3 years old, I couldn't eat anything solid. I had something wrong with the way that I would chew food and swallow. That it just wasn't happening for me. I would just like kind of chew food and it would go down, and then I would like cough and choke, and it put me off eating altogether. Yeah. So I basically only lived off of like water and milk for the first 3 years of my life. And I went to Great Ormond Street Hospital, and it was pretty bad. My mum's got some pictures of me looking like terribly malnourished. And eventually the doctors trained me to make to understand how to chew food properly. Like they put like a single baked bean in my mouth and just let it like dissolve, and they'd be like, well done, that's very good. You know, one crisp, and just let it melt. And slowly but surely we got there, and now I can't stop eating. Now it's now it's a problem. But yeah, there you go. That's something I don't tell many people, but why the hell not?
Nice.
Yeah, just like hope everyone's all right, man. Look after yourselves and like try and use the time productively. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, from a disclosure point of view, we've got the playlist, which you can go and check out on Spotify. It's getting updated every day at the moment. We're also doing regular mixes. At the moment, we've done one every Friday. I'm not sure if it'll be every Friday, but I'm going to try and do like regular live streams. Everyone's doing that at the moment, so I'm trying to figure out ways to do it like a bit differently and make it a bit more of an event. The EP is out as well. Ecstasy. That's only been out for like a month or 6 weeks now. So you can go and check that out. It's got 5 tracks on there. Other than that though, if you can, stay home. Like, don't go outside.
Yeah.
You know, go for your walk or whatever, and be careful. But just do what the news is telling you, man. Do what the Prime Minister is saying. You know, if we all put in the effort now, it seems to be making a difference. And so, you know, that's what I'm doing. I'm just staying home, making beats, you know, watching TV, chilling out. So, you know, if you're in that position where you can afford to do that, do it. Like, don't go out, don't go to the pub, don't go and climb Mount Snowdon, apparently, which is what everyone seemed to do in London for some reason. So, yeah, wash your hands.